it's the masculine energy we've had to adapt from doing everything by ourselves. And because I'll tell you this about myself, I find that it's hard to defer to someone because I've had to take care of myself for a long time.
Yeah.
So when I now have to accommodate a man, I want to, but I don't know how to get down to the stress.
Exactly. I think it really comes off more like I can do this myself. I've been doing it myself. And it gets to a point like, why do I need you? Not that we don't need them. We do need them. We are just used to taking care of ourselves.
No, but I want to be
It's very intimidating.
But I also want to be taken care of.
I do.
You know?
I do.
I'm talking about taking care of. I want to know how you juggled your independence.
Yeah.
I mean, your first husband was very wealthy.
Yeah.
How did you juggle, I'm independent, but this is a man with a lot of wealth?
What? Sorry to cut you short, talking. What people don't understand, when I met my ex-hubby, he wasn't actually, if you look at our pictures, way back, we were like two little villages. When we got together, we had so much ambition. And looking at him, he had so much potential. Looking at me, he could feel my force. So we joined two forces and we built an empire. Most people always come like, no, but you inherited. I never inherited anything from that man. Everything that he left behind when he passed on, we worked for together. And I've got a whole lot of pictures and videos, even before we had kids. The tiny Honda Ballets we were driving, sometimes the doors couldn't even open, and people don't know these things. Now, when they see you pulling up in a Lamborghini, she inherited. When they see you living in no, I didn't. Everything I had, we acquired together. Even after his passing, that's why you see I can still keep the legacy going because I'm hardworking. So many women are left inheritance. A year later, they don't even know what happened to what. But because I was part of that foundation. I was just not a roof that was, put there. I was a foundation. I can still carry on.
It's nice to hear that you actually struggled with this man. How did you meet and fall in love with him?
Meeting Ivan was such a village. So we were by my aunt's place, and my aunt used to cook Sunday lunches where all Ugandan people would come and vibe and chill. And he kept coming there, and I would ask my aunt, there's this boy that comes here, he never speaks at all. What's up with him? He says, no, it's just one of those local boys. He's also new. We were both new here. And eventually, I think on the third weekend, he gets the courage to come to me and he says, I dig you. That's it. Said, you dig
You never looked back since?
No, I was like, you're not even my type. He looked so tiny, very local, and I'm like, and me coming from home, remember, I was already that famous girl from where I'm coming from, like, does this guy know who I am? And the next day, he pulls up, it was a Monday, he says, we're gonna go grab some ice cream. Ice cream. Then we went, and he barely spoke. We're just driving around and thinking, what the hell is happening with this one? Me being the talkative one now, I started talking, and you can see it's really forcing. But that's why you see, if I found a man that talks as much as I do, I think we wouldn't last. He was the opposite, quiet, and I was a very talkative and this big personality. Eventually, we started dating, and before I knew it, I was pregnant, and we never looked back. Life happened. Yeah.
When you talk about him, you still have this smile. It was quite a journey with Ivan.
It was quite a journey with Ivan. I think I built with him. I grew with him. When we met, I was 20. I think I was 20. Ivan was 23. You can imagine when we met. So I spent 12, 13 years with him. That is the longest relationship I've ever been in. He became part of me. That's why until today when I speak of him, I don't speak of him like he passed or something. I kind of speak like because he's there with me always.
You guys came to young guy, young girl from a small village and had big dreams.
Yeah.
But you must have heard a lot of accusations about his source of income and how he made money. Which one would you say stood out the most? The fraud accusations and people just constantly wanting to know how this money came about. What did he actually do for a living?
I was into hairdressing. Now picking up from my auntie, I had like a tiny shop, hairdressing shop. I didn't even know how to do hair. But being thrown in the jungle in South Africa, like you gotta learn something, you gotta do something. And I didn't have papers at that time to say I want to look for a job and all these things, because papers also was a process for us to get papers. Ivan also on the other side, as a guy who's just in the country, was just hustling, like trying to see what's happening, what's on the ground, all these piece jobs. And it got to a point where we're like, we need to open a college. It's like, no, but we're not even educated enough to run a college. I'm like, we don't need to be educated. We just need to know what are the ins and outs. If we're gonna hire people who know to do the job, here's the hardest part. It's like, where do we start?
Where did the money come from?
Yeah, where do we start? Where do we get the money? For, we had a very tiny office, very tiny and dirty. We could actually just fit in 2 chairs in there. We opened it. We had a friend of ours from Zambia who helped us push the accreditation letters. And that very year, when our papers came out, we were broke. I actually never seen 10,000 in my whole life being in South Africa. That very year we opened a college. We landed 2 million rands in our account. Just for the registrations alone. Because I think there was also potential. Most of the schools that were there were more like your government schools. There wasn't so many private FET colleges, and people came in. Now the saddest part is, when students started registering and the money was on their account, we're seeing it, we're very excited. As we're waiting for the accreditation to come out, it didn't that day. Department of Education stepped in, the police stepped in, a whole lot of people stepped in. We had to refund half of that money, if not 3/4 of it. We went back to zero. Not giving up, we said, you know what, we're still pushing. I think a week later the papers came out, but people had already lost, say, it's probably fly-by-night college, because we did it was a big news in the country. So the business didn't set back, it actually moved. We kept praying over it, we prayed over it. I think we did a lot of praying for that business until it eventually picked up. And the money came, the money started flowing. Like you would just sit there in the beginning of the year with all the registrations, you're looking at 50 million rands in your account, like, what am I gonna do with this? And us being young, the lifestyle, buying cars, buying houses, we're flying, business class, everywhere. I think also with the planning, we could have done better, but new money, with new money, there's so much excitement, like you want to do it all. So we never look back until today.
So knowing